Welcome back to Tough Men of Faith. I'm here with Chris Moore today. He was on a few weeks ago. RT's busy doing Army stuff or something. I don't really know what he does. He said they were flying Blackhawks or something today, which
He was flying one?
I hope not. I hope he was actually sitting in the back seat. It scares me.
Very much strapped in.
Yeah, very much strapped in. Hope he's not shooting a gun out the back door or something.
Sure.
Just do chaplain stuff.
Yeah.
Like, pray with the guys.
Pray with them.
while they're flying. You
While
don't
they're
have to.
flying.
Yeah. You don't have to. You don't have to attend whatever they're doing. You don't have to help them.
You know, he was hanging out. You know, he had the wrecking crew bring him up in in a harness while we had the block party. Hopefully he's not
how
doing
was that?
Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah.
So obviously
So they brought like a tow truck out, right?
they
Like
brought
a big
huge
rotator,
tow truck,
and then
massive.
they lifted him up.
Lifted him, put him in a harness, and lifted him up in the air and let him fly through the air.
It would have been way better if they just did it off his belt loop, so you get
Yeah.
the big atomic wedgie.
So hopefully he didn't.
No.
Hopefully he's not doing that now in the
Yeah,
Blackhawk.
I hope you're right. All right. So what do we got? We got Farmstead Summit coming up September 5th and 6th. That's Friday, Saturday.
6th and 7th.
6th and 7th. Friday, Saturday.
It's not even my thing. I know the dates.
Right.
Though.
Thank you, man. So that's going to be good. I think we got some good speakers on that for Friday night and Saturday morning. I think RT's talking about doing some rucking or something.
Okay.
So we got somebody leading that. Basically hiking through the woods. I'm not going to be a part of it, but I'll watch from a distance. And then we've got some, I think, a shooting competition or something in the afternoon, like a 22 competition. I don't know. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Come out, spend 24, 36 hours, $50, get a T-shirt and 3 meals, and I don't think it's a bad thing if you don't have a tent. I think we've got some extras, so I think it'd be a good time.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, it seemed like there was something else going on. What's that? Oh, yeah. Don't let me forget Seth and Increase Jesus, increasejesus.com. Check him out for some T-shirts and you got all kinds of stuff, really. And use the code TOUGH-10. And, check him out. So, Farmstead Summit, toughmenoffaith.org. Get signed up. I think we've limited it to 60 or 70 people, and I think we're fast approaching that now. It's like everybody waited till the last minute to get signed up. So,
always.
It's going to be a good time.
Okay.
All right, so Chris is back.
Yep.
Been a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Kind of hit him out of the blue and was like, hey, man, I need you. And he said, I'll be there. And so here we are. What are we going to talk about?
I know we're going to continue on your topic on Sabbath.
On last week's episode?
Yeah, last week's episode of Sabbath.
How men need to rest?
Yeah.
Okay. I was actually watching a video earlier today, but it took us back to Genesis 2:1.
Yep.
Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. I guess it's 2:2. And on the seventh day, God finished his work that he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all the work that he had done.
Yeah.
And it got me to thinking that God didn't rest because he was tired.
Yeah.
God didn't rest because he needed to realign with himself.
Yep.
God didn't rest because he needed to rest. God rested because we, as men, need to follow God's lead, and we need to rest.
Yeah.
It's so funny. I often find myself, when I don't take rest, I will find myself getting to a point where I push church to the back.
Yeah.
I push my wife to the back. I push, not my kids, other kids.
Sure.
And, I push everything to the back, and I just focus on my work. And when I do that, I find myself coming up short in a lot of areas in my life.
Yeah.
And it's a tough one for me to talk about because I am currently working too much.
Sure.
And when my wife sees this episode, she's going to get you. She's going to get me. Yeah, she'll be stepping on my toes.
Sure.
So I just had to keep her from watching these episodes for a couple weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, I got to get my stuff done.
I'll make sure to tell her
Thank
to watch
you.
them.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I'm right there with you. I can tell you story after story. And
well, you're self-employed. I mean, sure, you can set your own schedule.
Yeah.
But how often do you find yourself doing too much?
A lot.
Right. Staying too late,
Yeah.
working, 7, 15, 20 days straight, not taking a break, not taking a rest, not taking a Sabbath. I mean, how many times do you find yourself in that position? And you know all too well. I mean, what do you lose what the potential of what you have to lose when you get yourself in that position.
Yeah, I mean, the story's too long for this story, but I mean, 3 or 4 years ago, right, and not being self-employed, working for a church, and I not paying attention to the Sabbath, not paying attention to what is necessary, trying to be God, right, which is at the end of the day is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
When
we're trying to control everything.
Yeah, and trying to be that, and almost. I'm not the only guy, that would say this. I know guys after guys, but almost ruined my life.
Yeah.
Because of it. You just make dumb decisions. You don't think straight.
Yep.
And
sorry, man. I wasn't trying to open up your story and talk about your stuff.
But it's important to me. And Sabbath is huge, and that's why when you said, what do you want to talk about today, filling in, I'm like, dude, let's talk about Sabbath. And I hadn't even heard, that you guys had just
last week's episode that we just talked about it.
Yep.
But and you were kind of a big inspiration when we were talking about it last week. Is you've made it so well known that you take, a day or two each week, and what day that is, and how you do it, and when you do it, and why you do it, and you've made it so well known that there's almost a little bit of jealousy there.
Yeah.
That you've actually taken the step to make it happen where I want to, but I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
And
I think sometimes when that comes up, right, when I talk to people and I tell them, like for me, and I don't mind sharing, like Monday's my day off. Like it's my Sabbath.
Right.
And I'm with my family. I don't have plans. You're not going to get me to schedule anything on Monday. You might get a hold of me if you're lucky.
Right.
But more often than not, I don't even have my phone.
Yeah.
I don't.
You just kind of totally unplug.
I do. And that's intentional. And I get people that'll be like, must be nice.
It's not a must be nice. And I'm it's a respectable thing.
I'm like, there's sacrifices.
Right.
Like there are things that it is hard.
Oh yeah.
It is a challenge.
Yep.
I mean, you talked about the self-employed.
Right.
Talk about needing to make sure that there's food on the table and there's checks in the bank.
Yeah.
And going, well, I have this day I have to work.
I could be making money today.
I could be working.
Yeah.
And going, but that's not as important.
Right.
As making sure that I'm taking a step.
And I think that's just it. You get your priorities right first, and then you make some sacrifices.
Yeah.
But it's like when you explained it to me, you said, I can go in on a Saturday, and I can get so much done on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And then Sunday is my day of church and my day with, my brothers and sisters and other people that I worship with. And then Monday is my day for me and my wife and my kids.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute here. Like,
yeah.
You kind of broken that mold of Monday through Friday work, Saturday do whatever, Sunday church. And you've kind of just moved everything around a little bit that works well for you guys.
And there's so many studies too. Like when you get into it, you talk about people that work more than 50 hours a week.
Oh yeah.
And I know you fit this.
What?
But the productivity.
I've seen this mold a little bit.
The productivity between someone that works 50 hours a week and someone that works 70 hours a week is almost nil. The difference.
Right.
You get almost as much done working 50 as you do 70.
Yeah.
But yet we've trained ourselves, especially in this culture, to work 70.
Yep.
And it's not doing us any favors. Right. And
then we go and brag about it.
Yeah.
I worked 70 hours last week.
Absolutely.
And it's funny because now you've gotten to this place in life where you look at people and you probably feel bad for them.
A lot of times I do.
That they're thinking that.
And not in a pity way. Like I don't want to. I'm not elevating, but not in a pity way. But in a man, I wish you could catch this.
I wish you could see what I've found or what I've seen already.
Yes.
And that's
fun. Another side note that's fun. And I see what you think about this. 7-Day Adventist.
Yeah.
They did a study. This was a 30-year study by some college, that did this study.
Okay.
7-Day Adventists, they're very strong on taking a Sabbath.
Right.
And they, on average, live 10 years longer than a normal
Really?
person.
Okay. We have some guys that work for us that are Seventh Day.
Yeah.
And they will not work Saturday.
No.
They beg to come in and work Sunday.
Yeah.
Because no one else is working on the job site, and they can come in and get so much more
stuff
done when no one else is there.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of like what you were saying with your Sabbath is you can come in on Saturday and get so much more done than you could on a Sunday or a Monday because nobody's bugging you or bothering you.
Yeah.
Phone's not ringing on Saturday for new sales and for new projects. It's it's going to voicemail on Monday.
Yep.
So I'll catch up with you guys on Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just I just think it's awesome. it's like going back to Genesis, God did this. God created a Sabbath for men, a rest day, a day to realign. That was the big one, I think, that really kind of stuck with me, is to realign, because it's so easy to get away from following God and the normal day-to-day work life and everything else that we've got going on, kind of like you were saying.
Yeah.
There's just so much bombarding us all at one time, and it's so easy to get away from being aligned with God that if we take a Sabbath day and we can realign, look, I'm doing pastor preachy hands. If we can realign with God and start getting back to that direction and moving in that direction, it's so easy, if you don't take a Sabbath day or a rest day, to kind of get off track a little bit and start moving in a different direction. And then, like you said, if you do this for so long, you can really find yourself in a bad position, a bad situation.
And one of the things that stuck out for me, the things that really hit me on the Sabbath, was what you said in Genesis, is this is before the law.
Right.
So this predates the law. It has nothing to do with the law. When someone says, "Oh, well, it's a commandment, that's been fulfilled, we don't have to follow it anymore." No. This was one that was before the law.
Right.
This was one that was set up at the very beginning when everything was perfect.
Right. I mean, before there was sin,
there was no sin, and there was still a Sabbath necessary.
Exactly.
For man.
Yep.
Right. And so we needed to have it.
Yeah. This is like you said, it's before the law. It's before. It's before the Jewish, going through and, the Sabbath, Shabbat, and, going through and saying you can eat this on this day, or you can't eat this on this day, and you can't walk this far on this day, and you can't do this, and you can't do that. This day is mainly it's just for this here.
Yeah.
And before that, before it was even made law for man, it was made law for everything.
Yeah. And it absolutely was. And that's, so to me, like when I do get into conversations with people, and they might say, well, that's nice for you. I'm glad it works for you. I'm like, the problem is that you're disobeying.
Exactly.
Like you're not following the commandment of God to do it.
And honestly, it becomes a pride issue.
It does, 100%.
Or maybe it starts as a pride issue. Mm-hmm. I need to do more. I have to do more. I. And it's so almost self-centered.
Yeah.
Thinking about how much I need to do, and sure, everyone has their reasons for what they need to do and why they feel that they need to do it. But, it becomes a pride issue in the end.
And the pride becoming of what you don't want to give up what it's going to take to do it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, right? Yep. And so it's well, if I did it on, whatever day, it doesn't matter what day it is. If I did it on this day, I would have to stop doing this.
Exactly.
This.
I would have to quit doing this or quit doing that.
And I'm telling you that this is more important.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right? You're right. You do have to quit doing that.
Yeah.
You have to slow down a little bit, and you have to go back and get back to the basics. And I don't know why I feel the need to say this, but it's like every time I go to a funeral, it turns into this big family reunion and friends reunion. And it's like, hey, why don't we get together anymore? Yeah. And it's like, oh, life got in the way. And it's not life got in the way. It's that we made decisions. Yeah. We made choices not to get together anymore. Yeah. And
we've allowed ourselves, like, busyness doesn't happen. Right. We make ourselves busy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we allow ourselves to become busy.
We have the ability to not be busy.
Right. Yeah, we allow ourselves to become busy and busier and busier.
Mm-hmm.
And back to the pride issue. I can handle that. Yeah. Sure, we can get all that done. You know, I have friends that do sports like 6-7 days a week. And if there's an 8th day in the week, they would find a way to cram something into it. And it sucks because you watch their marriage fail and you watch their friendships fail, and it's so hard to sit back and watch. But you try to teach them and tell them, and they don't want to hear any of it. And in fact, they just want to call you and kind of gloat a little bit. I spent so much time at the fields, or I spent so much time at the gym this week, and it's like, do you not see everything that you're losing around you?
Or I'm able to work, and I'm putting in these 50, 60, 70-hour weeks, and so I can afford this truck and this house and this whatever, and it's like, that's really cool. Yeah. Like, I'm really glad for you, and it's a nice truck. It really is. Right. But is it worth it?
Yeah, you're trying to afford things to impress people that don't like you.
One of the things I've never heard somebody, and RT could be here. I know he could answer this because I've talked to him about it. I've never met someone that's kids are graduating and moving out of their house and said, I wish I would have spent more time working.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
No one. Yeah. Not one person.
Right.
No person says, I wish I would have spent a little bit more time away from my wife and more time in the field of work.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, when their marriage is falling apart, what they tend to be is, I wish I wouldn't have worked as much.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Or
wish I
when
would
their
have spent a
kids-
little more
When
time.
their kids are moving away and do stuff, I wish I would have spent more time with
Yep.
them. And so,
Yep.
you see that. You never see it the other way.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish I would have had a bigger truck. I wish I would have had a bigger house. Like,
Yeah.
no one says that.
Right.
It's not saying any of that stuff's bad.
Yeah. No, I
But
agree.
It's saying if those things are what you have to give up to
Right.
have this,
Yeah, that's not worth it.
it's not.
Yep.
And it does. It aligns you with God. And that's where
And-
I've, in the process of what we've done, and we haven't figured it all out. Like,
Right,
I'm
for
not
sure.
sitting over here saying Anna and I have we've learned this, and we make adjustments all the time, is that Sabbath is so that we can focus on God.
Yeah.
And the things that He wants us to see.
Right.
The things that He's already blessed us with.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't need to go out and buy more stuff.
Right.
We already have enough
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, we have enough stuff.
We have enough things. We can sit in the beautiful house that we have and
Right.
the TV that we already own and the couch that we already have.
Right.
All of the stuff
Yeah.
and still have fun and laugh and goof off
Right.
and enjoy the times. And then God says, now, after that rest, now go do the work
Yeah.
I'm asking you
Yeah,
to
exactly. Now get back to work.
Mhm.
But take that time,
do. Absolutely.
recharge, realign, reset, and get everything ready to get back, laser focused, and then get back out and,
Yep.
get back to work for the next 6 days.
Yep.
And find that time to take your break, take your Sabbath, take your time, realign, reset, and
Yep.
yeah, I think it's needed and it's necessary.
And I would say, I know we're probably running out of time. I want to say the simple thing, just because people sometimes get upset about it.
Yeah.
And they're like, there's no way I could just take one day. Okay, start something.
Yeah, exactly.
Start something.
Yeah, start a
Take
process.
an afternoon
Right.
that you don't focus on shopping or you don't
Yeah.
focus on working or you don't focus on this and that. Maybe that's where you start right now. But start somewhere.
Yeah.
It may not be a Saturday. It may not be a Monday.
Right.
It may need to be a different day.
Well, that's what Rachel always said too when I was primarily self-employed before I started this new job.
Yep.
Is she said, every Sunday at noon or 1 o'clock something changed, and she said you were back into work mode.
Yeah.
A day before you were ever supposed to be back at work.
Yep.
And she said it killed me to watch you because you would go from fine, happy-go-lucky Friday night to Sunday at 1 o'clock, and then Sunday at 1 or 2, it's like all of a sudden the switch flips, and she's like, and you're right back to work mode. And she's like, this is crap. This is my time with you.
Yeah.
This is not work's time with you.
Yeah.
And she said, so now for the next 12 to 15 hours, I'm sharing you with work before you're full on back in work mode again.
Yeah.
And she said that's the one thing that's changed about this new job is that she's like, you're not back in work mode. Sometimes you're not back in work mode, Monday morning. She's like, things change when you're not
Yeah.
self-employed
Sure.
and you're not, depending on you being at work to make a check,
Yep.
to make ends meet. She said, and that's something that she's respected most about this change is that there's been a huge change in me.
Yeah.
Which also lets me get back to some kind of a Sabbath. Now I'm no Chris Moore when it comes down to it. But I am trying.
Yeah.
And like you said, just make a small change.
Yep.
Maybe it's an afternoon. Maybe it's one day a week. Maybe it's something, but
Yep.
find that time.
And the only reason I tell people this, to be honest,
Yeah.
it's addicting. You're gonna find it's not lazy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to you're not gonna look at me and be like, oh, he's lazy.
Right.
I can't be lazy or
Yeah.
I'm not getting stuff done that needs done.
Right.
But it's addicting to find things of where else can I go without so I can have more time.
Yeah.
So I can have more, opportunities to
Yeah.
spend time with friends or to spend time with my kids.
Yeah,
or
look at
spend
you,
time with
just
my
the
wife.
opposite of everybody else. Everybody else is trying to figure out how they can make more money so they can buy more things, so they can
Yeah.
spend more time with their family and friends with their things. You're trying to figure out how you can get out of work and buying new crap and new meaningless, $100,000 vehicles and $80,000 pools and big houses, and you're trying to figure out how you can get away from any of that hustle and bustle and grind just so you can spend more time with you, your family, God, your friends, and just trying to make it, as easy as possible.
Yeah. I try to talk to the like I
Right.
said, you talked about funerals. It's what hit me.
Yeah.
Talking to all of these people, and,
Yeah.
and all these old people, right?
Right.
I'm not trying to be mean,
No.
but older people,
Yeah.
people that have lived longer than me.
Yeah, the people that we need to be learning
come up
from
to me
anyway.
and tell me, don't focus on this stuff.
Right.
Don't do this stuff. And
Yeah.
then when I didn't listen, and I watched my life, just bulldoze in on
Yeah.
itself, implode.
just kinda started
is the
to
word I was
implode.
looking for.
Right.
Implode. I was like, okay, well, something's got to change.
Yeah.
And then it all started coming back, like these things people tell me and things to listen to,
Yep.
of saying like, no, none of that stuff you care about later.
Yeah.
You just don't.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, nobody on their deathbed wishes they would have spent more time working.
No.
Or spent more time acquiring things. All they ever wish for is that they would have spent more time with family, friends,
Yep.
and
I said what Paul says it. He's at the end of his race.
yeah,
I don't have things. I don't have stuff.
Right.
I've learned how to be content with nothing. I've had things at times.
Yeah.
I've had enjoyment and
Right.
I've had the stuff, but that didn't mean anything.
right. Also had everything taken away.
I've had it all taken away. And what I'm excited about the most is that I'm at the end of my life and I've finished my race.
Right.
Because I focused on the things that mattered.
Yep.
I have people. I've invested in people.
Yeah.
I've had relationships that now are investing in other relationships, and
Right.
those are building people. The truth of God is getting out.
Yep.
The word of God, the
church that
excitement
he
of
built
God,
is
everything is
growing.
growing because of that. That is the most important thing, and that doesn't come by
Right.
putting in 70-hour weeks.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Not at work.
So no, not at a job. And even like I said, even ministry, right? I mean, you just
Right.
have to be careful with
Absolutely.
how it works. And,
Well,
and
and we're both friends with RT, and
Yeah.
we watch him, and there's times we see him overdo it.
Absolutely.
And there's times where we have to go in and say, hey, man, look,
yeah,
you're overdoing it. Let
Chill
me
out.
say something before your wife does.
Yep.
It'll be better for you in the end.
and even him. And again, I'm not bashing on
Yeah,
him
absolutely.
whatsoever. I've been in those shoes.
Yep.
We are not God. We don't need to do ministry 24/7.
Exactly.
God can.
Yeah.
We are not.
Yep.
There's other people that can do ministry
Right.
when I need to not
Yep.
do it.
And we're meant to take a break.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And if I don't, I'm just going to break.
Yeah.
I will break.
Yeah.
And fall apart. And so
Absolutely. And yeah, we've proven it. It's been proven time and time again.
Yep.
It doesn't need to be proven again.
Absolutely.
Listen to a couple guys that, have seen it, that
Yep.
have lived it and done it. Find you a Sabbath day. Find a day, a time that you can relax, a time that you can realign,
Yep.
a time that you can spend with your family and your wife, and you're not stuck.
Yeah.
You're not stuck into the job. You're not stuck into the sports. You're not stuck into something. Find a time that you can get into it and
Yep.
spend some time and
Yeah.
take a Sabbath.
Just relax.
Take a break.
In Christ.
Yep.
Like just resting in him.
Right.
And that's where it's going to be at. So
Cool. Man, thanks for coming in.
100%.
This is awesome.
I love it.
It kind of went in a different direction than I thought it was going to, but I
Yep.
think it worked out well. So check out increasejesus.com and use the code tough-10 and get signed up for the Farmstead Summit. It's the 6th and 7th of September.
Yep.
Friday, Saturday. It'll be a good time. But get signed up quick because I think the spots are going pretty quick.
And I'll just mention, I know I mentioned it last time. We
Yep.
actually got another Conquer Friday night.
This
Friday
cool.
night. So
That's this Friday night.
Conquer the Dark is
Okay.
another activity that we do.
What time does that start?
It starts at 10:30 here at Villa in the
Okay,
parking lot.
and then
So,
that's south side of Indy, 2650 South Villa Avenue.
Yep.
And then
yep.
what's that? 10:30 to
10:30 to about 2 o'clock.
In the morning?
1 o'clock.
Okay.
I say 2 is when we usually end up leaving.
Oh,
But
yeah,
it
I got you.
stops at 1.
Okay, 10:30 to 1.
10:30 to 1. We do some workouts. We do that. You can check my Instagram is wild.more15.
Okay.
And I post the stuff on there, or I have posted things, and,
Cool.
and usually try to post things up there on it. So, it's a great time. We get
Good.
together, we do workouts, we get physically exhausted, and then we challenge each other spiritually. So.
Okay, awesome. Cool, man. Thanks again for doing
Absolutely.
this. Appreciate it. All right, see you next time.